She was drenched, shivering on the steps off an old building, her voice barely a whisper. "I have nowhere to sleep." And that night, a kind stranger gave up thinly warm bed he had and slept on feckled floor. But neither of them knew this one act of kindness would change but their lives forever. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories for more heart-touching tales of compassion. The city of Denver was drowning in icy rain the night Grace found herself without a home. Her clothes clung to her body, soaked through her backpack heavy with the few belongings she had managed to savvy before her stepfather kicked her out. She had turned 18 just 3 days ago. That meant she was officially an adult. And legally, that meant she was no one's responsibility anymore. Grace had wandered for hours before collapsing on the steps of an old apartment building. The cold had settled into her bones. She pulled her knees to her chest and tried to stay awake. Every time she closed her eyes, a terrifying thought crept in. What if I never wake up? Inside that very building, a single dad named Luke was struggling too, but in a different way. Life hadn't been kind to him either. After losing his wife to cancer 2 years ago, Luke had devoted every moment to raising his 6-year-old son Caleb. Money was tight. His job as a mechanic barely covered rent and food, but they had each other, and Luke made sure his son never felt the emptiness he felt inside. Around midnight, Luke stepped out to throw some trash in the dumpster near the steps. That's when he saw her, huddled, shaking, her lips blue. "Hey," he said gently, walking closer. "Are you all right?" She flinched, but didn't run. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "I have nowhere to sleep." He paused, heart tightening. Something in her eyes reminded him of his late wife. The same haunted sadness. "I live just inside," he said slowly. "I don't have much, but I have a warm place. A dry place and a bed." She looked up sharply. "I don't want trouble," she murmured. "I'm not dangerous. I believe you," Luke replied. "And I wouldn't leave a dog out in this weather, let alone a human being." She followed him inside, hesitating at the door. His apartment was small, just 2 rooms, a pull-out sofa, and a mattress on the floor. Caleb was asleep, cuddled under a Spider-Man blanket. Grace stared, lips trembling. "You have a son." Luke nodded. "His name's Caleb." "You're safe here." He handed her a towel and a dry t-shirt. "The bed's yours tonight. I'll sleep on the floor." Her eyes widened. "You don't have to insist," he cut in. "Sleep. We'll figure things out tomorrow." That night, Luke lay on the floor with an old quilt, listening to the soft breathing from the bed. He didn't sleep much. Something about this girl felt unfinished, like fate had brought her here for a reason. In the morning, the smell of eggs and toast filled the apartment. Grace had woken early, eager to help. She made breakfast while Caleb giggled, helping her stir the eggs. Luke raised an eyebrow. "You cook?" Grace smiled chilly. "My mom taught me before she died. I used to make her breakfast every weekend." She didn't talk much about her past, but Luke noticed the way she flinched at loud noises, the way she checked the door lock 3 times, the way her eyes scanned the room like she didn't belong anywhere. By evening, Luke made her a deal. "You can't stay here until you find your footing. Help around. Cook clean if you're okay with it. It's not charity. It's family if you're willing." Tears filled her eyes. No one's ever said that to me before. That night, Grace slept again in bed and Luke once more on Pfeffler. But what started as a temporary solution quickly became a bond no one expected. Weeks passed, and Grace became part of their little world. She braided Caleb's hair into funny shapes before school and helped Luke manage the bills. She picked up groceries, washed dishes, and even started tutoring Caleb in math, something Luke always struggled with. One evening, Luke came home to find Caleb and Grace building a pillow fort in the living room. He froze at the sound of Caleb's laugh, the same laugh he used to share with his late wife Maria, It hit him hard. It had been so long since Joy lived in these walls. Later that night, while folding laundry, he looked over at Grace. "You know, when you first came here, I thought I was helping you." She smiled, folding Caleb's tiny socks. "You were." He shook his head slowly. "But now I realize you were helping me just as much." She looked down. I still didn't know what's next. "I can't stay forever," Luke nodded. "I know, but maybe you don't have to figure it all out alone anymore." One cold Saturday afternoon, they went to the local shelter together. Grace volunteered to help serve meals, something she had once stood in Linifer. Luke stood back, watching her laugh with an elderly man who kept calling her Sunshine. She was glowing, alive. He realized thankfulness had changed her, and maybe her kindness had changed him too. A week later, Luke surprised her with Abercure. "There's a community college is starting night classes. I know a woman there. They have housing grants for it, and you qualify." Grace stared, unable to speak. "I want you to chase your dreams, Grace." I said, "I'll help however I can." "You didn't owe me anything. You gave me back a part of life I thought I lost." Her hands trembled as she took the paper. "I thought I'd always be unwanted, invisible. I never thought someone would sleep on floor, so I could have a bed." Luke smiled. Sometimes the smallest kindness become Simone's turning point. A month later, Grace packed her things, but this time she wasn't scared. She was headed to school, to purpose, to a future. Luke and Caleb stood at the curb, waving as she climbed into the cab. But she stopped halfway, ran back, and hugged them both tightly. "You gave me home," she whispered. "You gave it back," Luke whispered back. 2 years later, on her graduation day, Grace walked the stage with tears in her eyes. In the front row sat Luke and Caleb, cheering the loudest. She didn't just get a diploma that day. She got her life back. And it all started with a whisper in the rain. One small act of kindness, offering a bed on a rainy night, transformed 2 broken lives forever. If this story touched your heart, please like the video and subscribe to Kindness Stories for more beautiful tales of humanity, hope, and healing.